compared to last year.
Yes. Well, what about the time when I came down when Pat was here? It was like I just needed to duck underneath the table.
Coach, last year you guys were 4-5 in the polls to start the year. I know polls don't mean much, but it has to sting you a little bit. This year, back to that top spot. Do you guys like that expectation of being that top dog to start a year?
It is what it is, and whether it's 5 or 1, I think it's a challenge for us because we were 5 and everybody was gunning for us last year. So why not be ranked 1 and everybody gunning for you there? And I will tell you this: we haven't really talked a lot about rankings this year, but we've really spoke about to each other how hard we work and what goals we have. Obviously, our goal is to win the SEC championship and then to compete for a national championship. So we talk about that, and we put it out there. I think it's important for us to not hide from that or shy away from it, because that's how our platform of how we recruit as well.
You know, talking to Megan now, she said you guys have the pieces to win a national title. Dean earlier this week, I would describe him as giddy. Dean's normally energetic, he was giddy talking about the talent. Does this team have enough talent to make a national title run?
I think it's one of the most talented teams we've had in a while. I think we've got pieces in place that could be special. I think for us is a matter of staying healthy, staying focused, and probably playing together. And this summer, I asked our players to stay in summer school because I thought it was important for us to bond, because I thought our leadership was not as good as we needed to be, and I think you see a result of a team that's very close-knitted, very together, and that was our goal. And I think if I had to say right now, I think we got the results that we were looking for.
How much did you learn from your first year as a head coach that you can apply to this year? What kind of lessons and things?
Well, Dan, that's a great question. I think the importance of using our staff. I think that was key for me last year is using our staff, and then understanding that sometimes I always thought more was better. And I think understanding and listening to our players who listen to their bodies. I think quality practices are better than quantity, and so
shorter practices?
I think so. I think a little bit. I will tell you this: our practices this year. I don't have to coach a lot of effort, and through the practices we've had has been just the energy. And the work ethic has been unbelievable. So I think you can get where you want to go, with the help of your team and being on the same page. And I thought last year that I don't think I had to prove myself, but it was it was different for our players. It was different for me, and I think every day, every game, I think I learned more, got more comfortable. But I think with the help of the staff and the understanding of what kind of great kids we have, I think it wasn't a difficult transition. The only thing that was difficult is not having, obviously, Coach Summit there.
Are there other things you're doing differently this year in your position that maybe you did from last year?
Not really. I think the preparation is the same. I think our philosophies have been the same. I think I'm a little bit more mindful of injuries and trying to make sure that, as I said earlier, not to overwork us. Make practice a little bit more quality. Not that they weren't last year, but I always think more is better sometimes, and that's not always the case. And I think that's probably one of the best things I've learned is listen to your kids, listen to your staff, and try to figure out a great balance.
Warlick, what have you actually this year in particular?
Well, I think, Megan, I think our goal for her is to play on both ends of the floor. And I think Megan has a little bit developed a bad rap on that all she cares about is offense. And she's a great offensive player. And we asked her to, as a freshman, she was one of our leading scorers. So she's been asked to play that role. But I think Megan this summer and this fall have understood the importance of the defensive end. And that's just a learning experience for her. It's not that she doesn't want to play. I think she's learning our system, our style, and it's taken a couple of years for her to get the system. And she's worked extremely hard at it. And I don't want Megan to feel. I think sometimes Megan feels like, as when she was a freshman, she has to, in order for us to win, she has to make plays on the offensive end. I just want her to play a complete game and understand her importance on both ends of the floor, and I think she does that now.
You haven't seen Mercedes yet. Is there another Lady Ball that you can compare her to, her style?
God, that's a great question. I think she has a little bit of Isabel Harrison in her, a little bit of a Candace Park. She handles the ball out away from the basket, is a great passer. I tell you this, Mercedes has a tremendous knowledge of the game. Her basketball IQ, I didn't know was that high until coaching her and being around her. So I think Mercedes, she can step away from the basket. She can stay around, play inside. And so I think she's like a versatile player that we've had in the past.
Howard, there's been a lot of talk out there about the way a game's going to maybe officiated this year, cleaning up the physical play and such. Are you preparing with that in mind in terms of practice and such right now?
Oh, yes, I think so. But I will tell you this. The game, as we want it to go smoothly offensively, it's still we're still going to be aggressive defensively. So we're still teaching aggressive, physical man-to-man. That's within the legal realm of the officiating. But sometimes, here's my thought. I think we're really quick to lay blame on the poor officiating, and so I think we've got to get back to these kids learning fundamentals, and both offensively and defensively. So, as I would like to, some would like to think it's all about very bad officiating. I think as coaches we have a responsibility as well.
With Mercedes being as developed as she is already, as you say, as a freshman, plus the other post players you have, how excited and how positive are you about what you have down low this year going into the season?
I think our front line can be exciting. I think when Isabel Harrison is healthy, obviously Bashar Graves, who was SEC Freshman of the Year, and then we can throw in Mercedes. I think we've got different people in different spots to throw out different looks. We can play three big people. We can play all athletic guards. So as a coach, you get a little excited about that you aren't, say, one-dimensional. You can do a lot of things with players who can play multiple positions, and that's what we like.
Are you worried about numbers? I suppose you have versatile players, but do you have enough players you have?
Well, Steve, I do worry about numbers when injuries are involved. But we've won a national championships with 7-8 players, so it can be done. It can be done. It makes you a little nervous in practice. But I think we have an opportunity for 10 people, for everybody to play, and they're going to play, especially the first half. My goal is to get everybody in the first half. Now, I'm saying that sitting here today, but 10 games in, I may not do that. But I think we have the quality of talent for everybody to get a chance to play, and just our staying healthy is probably our biggest challenge and our biggest factor right now.
Coach, what player would you say has made the biggest improvement over the summer?
That is a great question, and I would have to say Ariel Massengale. And I say that she made a USA team, didn't start, didn't play a lot. So she had to play a role, and I think she has a greater appreciation for our players, one, sitting on the bench, two, not getting probably as much playing time as she has, and the importance of being a part of a team. And if I've seen anybody become, our biggest thing that we've talked about has been leadership, consistent leadership, and I think Ariel has become more vocal. She's always had a great knowledge of the game, but she's trying to help get everybody in place, and I see a tremendous amount of improvement from her game.
Can you talk a little bit about Andrea Carter, healthy kid that came in
I love
early
it.
last year, did a lot for you.
Andrea Carr, you're talking about a young lady that started as a freshman and then had a shoulder injury, and I don't think she's missed a beat. She's very knowledgeable, had a great high school coach, very athletic. She brings a aspect of us on the defensive end, a consistency we hadn't had. Is a great leader, and I love her being around. She's a good kid, a solid kid, and everybody loves her, and so she keeps that team camaraderie together.
Do you anticipate her getting back into that starting lineup?
I do. If I had to pick a starting group, I don't know who I would pick right now, but I would not see her staying off the floor too much longer. And every year we recruit freshmen and say, well, we're not going to promise you to start, but somehow, some way, every year since I've been at Tennessee, a freshman has started. So I think you start off with what you think is going to be, and then by the end of the year, you have a totally different lineup.